Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Trading Academy, the world leader in financial education. Teaching people just like you how to trade and invest, whether you're brand new in the markets or if you've been investing for many, many years and looking for more consistency. We have strategies and techniques designed for all time frames. If you did miss seats for that investing class, we had a lot of people calling in and texting for that. If you did miss it, simply call or text the word trading to the number 952-905-0975. That's 952-905-0975. And that's for 2 seats for an investing class to get started down that right financial path. In the last segment, we had a lot of people commenting in a lot of those people that are coming to these investing classes about the podcast too, because if you do miss part of that, you can go and listen to the podcast, Investing and Trading Live. So we appreciate everybody that's been coming into these investing classes actually from the podcast, because I think that's a growing area, I guess, in the world. Podcasting is really, I think I don't know exact stats, but the increase of people listening on podcasts is just phenomenal right now. So we appreciate all of that and all the feedback we've been getting from the show. If you do have any comments or any insight you would like us to cover on the show, simply just ask in that call too when you call 952-905-0975, and we can try to cover different techniques or concepts for the financial markets for you. So when Al was just kind of going into the actual returns that people were getting, what was that actual from the stat? Was it 3%?
3.6%
over 20 years, which is terrible.
Well, when you consider inflation, figure that about 3.5%, and then any fees that are taken out by whoever's managing your portfolio, doesn't leave a very attractive number for you.
It doesn't. And some people hopefully have done a little bit better, right?
Sure.
And I'm sure some people have. And that's where the difference is maybe those people are doing something a little bit differently. And you said, I think the average return of the S&P 500 over that 20-year span was how much?
9.5%.
9.5, which is the historical, what everybody says.
Correct.
So that being said, even 9%, I would say isn't really that good. I mean, if you have $100,000, that's $9,000. Can't really live off of that per year. So we're just seeing more and more people want to do better or different. And you mentioned in the last segment as well, people are doing the same things over and over and expecting a different result. Well, when you're teaching a lot of these classes, and I've had a lot of these conversations when people are coming in, very, very, how do you say this? Great careers these people have. Mm-hmm. They have great careers. They make decent money from their job, their work, or their career, but they still just don't have enough to save. So we're seeing a lot of great people coming in that have that. But the good thing is they have something to get started as well. So that's one of the benefits is when you already have something started or you have a great career, continue to build off that, right? And so that's why it's pretty cool. We're seeing so many people that actually have that started and then want to do better, and then because they also have more things that they want to do as well. So when you're helping people that, especially that do well financially, and which is what we're seeing a lot of people are coming in, do well financially, but want to have better returns to get to where they want to be, whether it's the League of a Legacy at one point or whatever that goal or objective is. What are some of the things that you're dialing into to help people bridge that gap?
Well, when we talk about successful people that are doing well, they probably have a career that they went through some education to be able to do properly. And here's the problem. People have been conditioned by Wall Street to do what Wall Street wants them to do. The people that are not doing well in the market, it's not because they're stupid. It's not because they can't figure it out. It's just that they have been conditioned to do things a certain way. And I think the bottom line is this, Josh. If you're not properly educated on how to trade, you're guessing and you're leaving yourself vulnerable to losing to those that know what they're doing, people that have been educated. And I think you have to start with this. You have to start with the understanding that everyday traders, the retail traders, the public, they don't move the market. So you need to know who does move the market, because it moves. It moves on a daily basis. Who's moving the market? And more importantly, when are they going to move it, and how can you take advantage of that? If you could do that, think about the difference that could make for you. And the people that are moving the market are the big Wall Street institutions. They're hedge fund managers. They're people like Warren Buffett that can maybe invest billions of dollars in one position. Well, what do you think the difference would be for you if you just traded right along with those people. If they're doing something right, and you're not making the same kind of returns they're getting, or close to that, or just better than you're already getting, you're doing something different. And the reality is that you're not really there's nothing that they're doing that you can't do. Let me put it that way. You just need to know what they're doing and when they're going to do it. So
it kind of made me think about that movie with, I believe it was Adam Sandler or Chris Farley or something, and then they had that guy in the background in the crowd saying, "You can do it!" I don't know if you remember that, Al, but that's kind of how it is.
I don't, but that makes sense. And I'll say that to everybody listening. You can do it. If you're willing to put some effort into it, if you're willing to learn what's available, then these opportunities are available for you.
Did I throw you off track there?
No, you can't throw me off track. You tried every.
I try every episode, every time.
So far, I think I'm hanging in there. But here's the important thing. There's a lot of strategies out there that people can learn. You can go to the library, Barnes & Noble. Most of those strategies are based on working on a certain set of market criteria, and they only work when that criteria is present. And we see a lot of people that come in and say, yeah, I was doing this kind of trading and I was doing really well, and then I lost it all. And you lost it all because that criteria, the strategy you're using, doesn't work in all of the market conditions that we mentioned. You asked me in the first segment, why it's so important to benefit not just in an up market. It's because you can benefit in a down market and a sideways market, but you have to know how to do that. That's coming into somewhere where you can get the right education. The knowledge is there, the education is available, but I think it's more than just knowledge. I mean, you can have all the knowledge in the world, and it won't do you any good unless you know how to use it properly. That's skill building. And that's one of the things I think that if you want to come into one of our classes, we'll show you how we do that. The skill building part is really what's going to elevate you to the next level or the next level or the next level.
That's exactly right. You kind of hit the nail on the head there, because there's so much information out there. And they say that term, knowledge is power. Actually, knowledge is worthless unless you know how to apply it. Right. Very similar to guitar lessons. I tried to read some stuff on guitars and check these videos out. You just can't learn how to play the guitar unless you get a coach, and that's what I did. I went and got a coach or a instructor to teach me how to play guitar. And there were some things there. It's amazing, Al. I had tried to figure out how to do this one little thing with the guitar for at least 4 or 5 months. It took me 2 minutes to figure it out when he told me and showed me how to do it. And that's how you have to learn trading and investing, is be shown how to do it.
It's having somebody tell you what to do, show you how to do it, but then having you do it. You need to get your hands dirty, so to speak.
Exactly.
It's hands-on. If you want to teach someone to play the guitar, you have to give them a guitar to play. Mm-hmm. If you want to teach a kid how to drive, you got to put them behind the wheel, start the car, take it out apart, and actually move the car.
Exactly.
That's how you learn how to do things.
Just like anything in our everyday life, but we're so conditioned to think that trading and investing is this thing that you just go and do and everybody does well. So that's why we have these investing classes, to introduce you to how to get started, how to do the right things, the right techniques, the right concepts to do. Because if you just don't know, then you'll do nothing. That's kind of the common term. People that don't know what they're doing just quit, right? So that's why we have these investing classes that we have here at the Academy, whether it's here in Bloomington. We also have these in other locations, Maple Grove, Wayzata, Edina. We're going all across the metro to get closer to you, to help you make better and smarter financial decisions. To come into one of these investing classes, one for you and one for a friend. These are 2 free tickets. You can call or text the word trading to the number 952-905-0975. That's 952-905-0975. That's 2 tickets, one for you and one for a friend. And that's call or text the word trading to the number 952-905-0975. So, Al, with these, you mentioned kind of towards the end of your talk there, and the shenanigans we have here, I'm going to try to mess you up one of these days, and you're going to be talking about the markets, and all of a sudden you're going to be talking about the baseball game and not even realize that. I will get you one of these days.
So it's worth staying tuned. Don't miss one of our shows.
It's been how many years, and I still haven't got you, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get you. Just like that movie Dumb and Dumber, I'm going to get you. No, you're not. So here we go. With the different techniques that you were alluding to with market direction. You have up markets. Everybody knows there's a profit when you go long. There's down markets. The term is called shorting, and that's the shorting is actually profiting as markets go down, or hoping that you do anyway with your strategy. And then there are also strategies for sideways markets too. So you mentioned, and we talked about at the beginning of this segment here, how people that are coming to these investing classes, they're doing very, very well financially, but they want more. So one of the things that they look for is another income strategy, because how you actually build wealth is multiple streams of income. What are some of the strategies that you apply for that?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because we also see a lot of people come in that have had a career. They worked for a company for maybe 20 years, and all of a sudden they were let go, or the company was sold or went out of business. If you have only one source of income, that's pretty precarious. If that source of income is not guaranteed to you and something happens, that income is gone, the cost of living doesn't stop at the same time. That is still going to be there. You have to not only pay for what you need to stay alive now, but you also have to have something to put aside for the future, for retirement. So how do you do that? How do you have a second or third or fourth source of income without having a job? Well, there are things that are available in the financial markets that are absolutely ideal for this. And options is one. Futures is another one. The foreign exchange market is another one. Real estate investing. And those are things that maybe you're not familiar with. And why are you not familiar with them? Well, because no one has taught you about them. There are all sorts of things out there that we know nothing about that we could, if somebody spent the time teaching us, if there was somewhere that we could go to learn. And as we talked about earlier in this segment, the way to do this properly is to actually get your hands dirty. Start doing this. If you're going to trade, whether it's stock or options or futures or Forex, the foreign exchange market, start doing it. But do it in a setting where somebody is watching over you, looking over your shoulder, showing you what you're doing right, showing you what you're doing wrong. And that's part of what we do at the Trading Academy. That's part of our education. But when you look at the availability of things for you to invest in, most people, as I mentioned earlier, are conditioned to do certain things. The people that are not doing well, and as I mentioned earlier, it's not because they don't have the ability to do it. It's just that Wall Street has conditioned them to do something different. They've been fed myths for so long. Wall Street, it's a multi-trillion-dollar business, so they have incentives to control as much of that business as possible, which means oftentimes taking advantage of the public. Typically, what people are put into is not one of these. The assets that I've just mentioned, options, futures, forex, can be used for short-term trading. Most people are put into something that is a long-term type of an investment, but they don't have the income to do it properly. Wall Street is assuming you've already created wealth. Then they show you things that you can do to address that wealth that you've already created. But you need to do something to get to that point where you have the wealth. That's what these income assets are. We can talk about these in the next segment.
Sure, we can definitely do that. But a lot of these techniques and strategies, it might be new to some people because, as Al is alluding to, you're hearing certain things, whether it's online, whether it's on TV or reading something. And you really have to think about what is the motive for them to give you that information, right? And it may be to get you to do a certain thing that might be to their benefit. So we really break that down in these investing classes where, what's really happening, what's reality. And one of the things I say in these classes too is, and I was told this by one of my mentors a long time ago, is sometimes you have to turn your adult brain off and just think about the concept here. Just think about it. Because a lot of the stuff you're like, oh, wow, that actually doesn't make any sense. There's a reason why you're hearing that. So we break that down a lot in these investing classes as far as the fundamental side of it. So that way you can hopefully start to make smarter investing decisions. And as Al was talking about, to build another income potential for that wealth bucket. Because it's extra income strategies that actually build wealth. So simply to come into an investing class to see how that works, the techniques, the strategies, you can call or text the word trading to the number 952-905-0975. That's 952-905-0975, and you can call or text the word trading to that. Coming up next, we're going to talk about those income assets, the retirement assets, and 401k IRA strategies as well. This is Josh and Al. We will be right back.